How many times have you been in a situation like this? You're online discussing gun rights or gun control when someone says the good guy with a gun is a myth, or people say things like, oh, no mass shooting has ever been stopped by a good guy with a gun. Well, it's important to understand that when you talk about something like that, one, it's factually wrong. There have been many mass shootings that have been stopped after the point where someone has actually hurt three people with a firearm. Now, the definition of what the FBI calls a mass shooting and what Mother Jones might refer to as a mass shooting or a mass murder, the definition is kind of muddy. But when you think about what they actually mean by that, is that it doesn't happen. People don't use their firearms for defensive use. Well, we're going to talk about a specific situation today where it actually did happen. Someone that was intent on killing many people was actually stopped by a good guy with a gun. Now, before we get going though, yes, I know for some of you this might be the first time you're seeing me in many, many months with a haircut, and you might be realizing just now, somehow you missed it. I got a big ass fucking forehead. Feel free to leave a comment down below about my forehead because it does help the analytics. Now, maybe think about something like what kind of knowledge you think I'm hoarding up here in my big ass brain. Well, most of it is filled with useless gun knowledge and vague California gun laws. So, yeah, not always the most useful information stored up here, but let's watch this video and then we're going to kind of talk about some stuff.
We're working to learn more about a deadly shooting over the weekend at a Fort Smith apartment complex. Police say a gunman opened fire at fellow residents before he was shot and killed himself.
Someone was shooting at residents and then was shot and killed. The only way to stop someone that is already intent on breaking the law is by stopping them. Now, some people would wish that you kind of have nice words with them and discuss things, but at the end of the day, sometimes people need to be shot in the face. It's just the way it is.
5 News reporter Michael Wilson is at the complex where this all took place.
Multiple neighbors telling me off camera they woke up to gunshots and calls for neighbors to get outside of their homes and get on the ground. It happened after 7 Saturday morning. Police tell 5 News 26-year-old Zachary Arnold shot and killed 87-year-old Lois Hicks as she answered his call to come outside.
One thing that I really hate about these sort of like news articles is that they always show the person's face. I'm going to blur this in post, but they always show the face of these absolutely just fucking scumbags as if that isn't kind of like what a lot of these people want. I'm not saying that every single mass shooter wants to be famous for doing these horrible things, but some of the most popular ones, the shooting was only the initial thing and that they had bombs planted. I'm not going to mention the name specifically. I don't really like referencing them directly, but it's just, I hate how we turn these people into like folk heroes for all the incels and weirdos out there on the internet that want to do bad shit.
She was found dead inside her apartment near her back door after being shot multiple times.
Now, if you might have missed it, so what happened was this guy shows up, starts shooting at the apartment complex and yelling at people, telling them to come outside. So this guy's crazy and he's got a gun. They don't mention what kind of gun, so I'm assuming that it's not politically important for them in order for the banning of it, but maybe we'll see as time goes on. So he's yelling at people, telling them to come outside, which first of all, just bad idea, but elderly people, it sucks to see this because clearly this person was a little bit older, maybe they weren't of their full faculties, not kind of confused, and just walked outside and was caught in the crossfire, which is super unfortunate.
Police say Arnold killed Hicks, who lived in the same building. Investigators say Arnold continued to shoot at neighboring apartments until a neighbor living in the complex heard those gunshots. That neighbor grabbed his hunting rifle and shot and killed Arnold. Fort Smith police arrived to find Arnold.
So in that video, we see that there is a bolt-action rifle and a handgun. It's not specifically stated whether those are the firearms of the person who did the killing or if those are the person that stopped the threat, but you see what happens. Guy is shooting people, and good guy shows up with a gun and kills them. Sometimes some people need to be shot in the face. It's just how it is.
Arnold's body outside on the ground and shocked neighbors. Arnold's family says he was a veteran who suffered from post-traumatic stress disorder. They tell me he had a gun because he was an avid hunter.
So just the last few things. So they mention that he was suffering from PTSD, which is obviously a huge problem in America, especially with so many people being in the military and having to deal with some of the horrors that is involved with that. Not everyone handles it the same. It's just how it is. And unfortunately, a lot of people are focusing so much on the guns, saying, oh, hey, they can, in the same sentence, they can acknowledge the problem being mental health issues in America, and then also say, we just got to get rid of the guns, because that's the easier solution that they're looking for. They also manage in here to throw in the whole hunting thing, which I'm not entirely sure is relevant for the specific story, but I hate how the media and anti-gunners try to act as if hunting is the only proper and real use for a firearm. The only things that I have ever hunted are varmint, which include squirrel, rabbit, some birds, various other ground critters, and coyotes. I've gone hunting for pig, never killed a pig though. But hunting is not what the Second Amendment is about. The Second Amendment is about having the protection to stop a government or a group of people from enforcing their will upon you. People seem to forget that in the 1940s, we put Americans in cages just because they were Japanese. Now, I don't like saying Japanese Americans, or we put Japanese people, because they were Americans. They were American citizens who happened to have maybe some sort of relationship with people in Japan, or were direct descendants of Japanese immigrants, or were themselves Japanese immigrants. We put them in cages because they were Americans who were Japanese. It's kind of ridiculous that we just forget about the fact that many of our grandparents grew up in that time frame, or many of your great-grandparents experienced that, or it's just, the Second Amendment is not about hunting, and I hate how that's always used. Then you got to consider the fact that the CDC said anywhere from 500,000 to 3 million people use a firearm defensively every year. Now, those numbers are kind of wide, and it's hard to get good, accurate numbers, but the best reliable number that the CDC felt comfortable mentioning in their publication on gun violence was 500,000 people a year. 500,000 people a year, on average, are using a firearm to defend themselves in the United States. I don't know, kind of seems like guns are a little bit more important than just being able to kill Bambi's mom. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think down below. Drop a comment. Let me know what you think. You guys know the drill. Have fun, be safe, stay dangerous. Peace. Okay, look, I know, for my California people out there, I know I posted and mentioned in one of my more recent videos that I would talk about how I was able to get a P320 in the state of California legally, without having to go through a private party transfer, without having to buy it from a cop, without having to buy it from someone that moved in from out of state. And I will make a video on that very soon. So I'm sorry that that wasn't the next video like I said it would be for this one, but just sometimes things get out of the way. And I wanted to make sure all the information that I'm going to be talking about and how I did this, that wasn't from an 80%, how I did it. And I wanted to make sure I got all the information as accurately as possible, because it's one of those kind of niche situations where I wanted to make sure all my T's were, I crossed my T's and dotted my I's and had all my stuff together and had the information proper. And I was just kind of waiting on the last few things before I actually talked about it. So that will be soon, probably within the next few days. I'm sorry. It will come. Be patient. If you want to do the method that I did, you're going to have to be patient anyway. So if you're impatient, probably not going to be something you're interested in. Thank you.